When Buddha had his enlightenment, the way the story goes is he expressed the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. I'm not going to get into all the details of that. Maybe some other time we'll go deeper into it. But the first, what I call the first fold of the Eightfold Path, is what we say is right view, or you might sometimes you'll read it as correct view. And view means how you perceive the world. And I have read that in the sutras, or some old teachers used to say that once you can perceive right view, all the rest falls into place. Because our view is the way we perceive the world and the way we respond and act to the world. I had an image one time. It's as if each one of us has a pair of glasses. And so I have Jeff glasses, Owen's got his Owen glasses, Matthew's got his Matthew glasses, Tori, you've got your Tori glasses. And they're a little bit, imagine they're a little bit like sunglasses. They're all tinted a little bit. And the tinting comes from our conditioning, how we have learned to view the world. And as far as we know, if we don't look into it, we just assume the way we see it is the way it is. But Zen practice, again, is to slow things down a little bit. And the main tool we have in our practice is asking questions, but they're very wide open questions. Like, what is this? It's like, I just heard a sound. What is that? How does that arise? Where did it go? I like this. Really? Why? How come I like it and you don't? And then I'll argue with you. No, you're wrong. It's really good. I had an aunt once who she would argue about anything. And I remember one day we were sitting on a deck somewhere, and she was arguing that the only real kind of ice cream was vanilla ice cream. All the rest of it is not really authentic ice cream. And, it's just absurd. But yet, how often do we find ourselves holding an absurd position and then defending it as if we know it? I had this thing happen once. When I was a kid, somebody told me that if you count the spots on the back of a ladybug, that tells you how many years old it is. And I believed it. And, well, Tori, maybe you know better and it's right. But sometime in my 30s, I remember I was telling somebody, oh, yeah, if you just count the spots on the back of this ladybug, you'll know how old it is. And then in the middle of saying that, I stopped and I said, what? How do I really know that? I lived on a commune one time early in my life, and the guy who basically owned the land, and this is really kind of silly, but he told me one day that it was really good to take the coffee grounds and put them down the drain. It was really good for the drain. And I spent my whole life believing that. It wasn't until, I think, last year, I said, really? How do I know that? This guy was kind of a jerk. Why do I think he knew this? That's what we do. We hear something and then we believe it. So maybe now I'll just conclude with the simple point that Zen practice is an inquiry practice into what am I? What are my beliefs? What are my ideas? Can we, with nuance, really look into ourselves, discover something more basic and fundamental about ourselves, instead of these crazy ideas that we pick up over time and believe and sometimes defend with our lives. Have you ever been in that argument with somebody and think, I don't really know what I'm talking about, and you probably don't know what you're talking about. Why are we fighting about this? Now, maybe I'm more of a fighter because I seem to be putting out this part of it tonight, but what am I? What is this? And I think I'm going to end with this beautiful line that my dear wife Sheridan came up with. And I think she's, well, I don't see her on the screen actually. Oh, there she is in the dark. She's waving. Anyway, we were discussing this whole process of complexity and things being kind of simultaneous. And she was thinking about it, and I walked into the kitchen about 5 minutes later. So she said, nothing is one thing. Everything is a mixture of everything. Slow your mind down, slow your life down enough to be able to witness the truth. And if you get closer to witnessing the truth, you actually have a possibility of acting in a way that's in accord with the universe.